sir. Sir, coming to the topic, what are the alarming symptoms in these patients?
Yeah, this is an excellent question. So the alarming symptoms, if you take apart from the routine anorexia, pain abdomen, and fever, if patient have continuous high-grade fever like 1 or 2 degrees Fahrenheit temperature, with this pain abdomen, that is pain all over the abdomen, which is not confined to either right lower part or umbilical region. And along with this, if patient have severe hypotension, hypotension means low blood pressure, which may cause severe perspiration, sweating, and palpitations to the patient. And sometimes patient may go into unconsciousness. So if these symptoms are there, these are all alarming symptoms, and this will necessitate emergency admission into the ICU and further resuscitation of the patient immediately.
What are the available investigations, sir?
The available investigations are, first thing is the blood investigations. So that includes complete blood picture, which may show leukocytosis, that is the total leukocyte white cell count will be elevated around about 12,000. And sometimes the counts are more than 20,000, that indicates there is a gangrene of the appendix. Along with that, there may be appendicular abscess. So apart from this complete blood picture, we will also do renal functions. So to show to see any derangement in the renal function because of infection and sepsis. So we will see for elevation in serum creatinine, blood urea, and sometimes in complete urine examinations there may be increase in pus cells. So which indicates that appendix is lying over the right ureter. And apart from this, the other main investigations are imaging modalities. So if you come to the imaging modalities, first thing is the routine ultrasound abdomen. So in ultrasound, they look for mainly the probe tenderness in the right iliac fossa, that is right lower abdomen. If there is severe probe tenderness in the McBurney's point, that is in the right iliac fossa, that confirms the acute appendicitis diagnosed most of the times. Apart from this, in ultrasound, they can also look for the diameter of the appendix. Most of the times, if it is more than 6 to 8 mm, that confirms again the diagnosis of appendicitis. And apart from this diameter, they will also look for any free fluid or collection of the pus in right iliac fossa or in pelvic cavity or in general all over the abdomen. Apart from ultrasound, if ultrasound and routine blood investigations, if they are inconclusive, that means we are not able to reach a diagnosis, then we will ask for a contrast enhanced CT scan. So the CT scan is nowadays the main investigation modality, and 90 to 95% of the times we can confirm the diagnosis of acute appendicitis. It can diagnose even early stages of appendicitis as well as all the complications of appendicitis, like if it is a gangrene or there is a perforation in the appendix, or there is an appendicular abscess, or if there is a generalized peritonitis. So as a whole, we can get a broader picture about the disease as well as its complications by doing a contrast enhanced CT scan of the abdomen. And very rarely we may have to go for MRI abdomen, especially in rare conditions, like if you are suspecting an appendicitis in patients with pregnancy, because in pregnancy, after ultrasound, we cannot go for a CT scan as it is contraindicated in pregnancy. So in those conditions, we may go for an MRI scan of the abdomen.
Can you elaborate the brief management plan of these patients, doctor?
Yeah, coming to the management, I mean, after confirming the diagnosis of appendicitis, so most of the times we will suggest for definitive management like surgery. So surgery is the definitive management nowadays. So we have to remove the inflamed or infected appendix. So in surgery, there are two types of surgeries. One is keyhole or minimally invasive or laparoscopic surgery, which is like 90 to 95% of times nowadays we'll go for laparoscopic or keyhole surgery. The other thing is the conventional open surgery, which we used to practice from good olden days.
Sir, coming to the surgeries, we heard that there is a keyhole surgery and open surgery. Can you elaborate it in details?
Yeah, keyhole surgery are otherwise called as laparoscopic surgery, where we access the abdominal cavity through a very small incisions, like maximum 5 mm to 1 centimeter incisions at 2 or 3 sides in the abdomen. So through these small incisions, we will get an access into the peritoneal cavity, and we can directly remove the inflamed or infected appendix. So the advantages with keyhole surgery are it is less painful. So because of less pain, patient will have quick recovery, and we can discharge the patient within 24 to 48 hours after surgery. And apart from that, other advantages are there is less chance of infection of the abdominal wounds, because in open surgery we give large incisions and there are chances of infection of that abdominal wall incisions, and also the large incisions will cause much pain, which delays the recovery of the patient, and patient may have to stay in the hospital for a long time. And apart from this, the laparoscopic surgery nowadays, the advances in laparoscopic surgery with high definition cameras and energy sources, even the complicated cases of appendicitis like gangrenous appendix and perforation and appendicular abscess and with peritonitis, all these complications now we can deal through this advanced laparoscopic surgery because of good vision through 3-dimensional cameras and good energy sources. We can manage all the complications of appendicitis. Previously, there is a notion that only the early cases we can do in laparoscopy, and advanced disease like perforation and sepsis, peritonitis, these complications we used to open the abdomen. But nowadays, with the advances in technology and energy sources, even all these complications of appendicitis like gangrene and perforation, we are able to do 100% in laparoscopic surgery most of the times.
What are the complications of this disease, sir?
Yeah, as I told already, if patient delays coming to the hospital and consulting a doctor, so to know the complications, we have to discuss briefly about the disease as such, progression of the disease, because the appendicitis starts because of the obstruction of the lumen of the tubular structure. So once there is an obstruction in the lumen of this appendix, so there will be rise in intraluminal pressure. So this rising pressure may cause the occlusion of the blood flow to the tubular structure. So once there is an occlusion or stoppage of the blood flow, that tube may go into necrosis. That means it will die. So once there is a necrosis, you call it as gangrene appendix, which is one common complication. And once it is gangrenous, so once it is unviable, it may perforate, it may get perforation. So that is another complication, perforation of appendix. So once there is perforation, there is seepage of this stool from that appendix to the peritoneal cavity, and which may cause initially localized peritonitis, or subsequently it may form a localized abscess, appendicular abscess, or sometimes it may spread all over the abdomen, which is called as generalized peritonitis with intraperitoneal abscess. So briefly, these are the complications. So once the patient have perforation and abscess formation and peritonitis, patient may have features of sepsis, septicemia. So once the infection enters the bloodstream, patient may have all the features of sepsis and septic shock. So roughly these are the complications of this disease.
When do you suspect these complications the patient has turned from appendicitis?
Yeah, that is another excellent question, because we have to identify in which stage the patient is, because the management varies with each stage of the disease. So you have to identify whether the patient have any complications of acute appendicitis. So again, by initially evaluating the patient in emergency room and doing certain investigations, we can reach to these conclusions. So once we see the patient, if patient have low blood pressure, that is hypotension, the blood pressure is below the normal systolic and diastolic pressures, we call it as hypotension, or patient heart rate is above 100, that is you call it as tachycardia, and patient may have hypoxia. So if the patient have sepsis and septic shock, patient may have hypoxia, that is the room air, so patient have low oxygen saturations in the blood. And apart from that, on examination of the abdomen, patient have diffuse tenderness. Whenever you press the abdomen, patient will wince with pain, and there will be diffuse tenderness, especially if the appendix is perforated and patient have diffuse peritonitis. And there may be sometimes abdominal distension because the bowel will go into an ileus because of the peritonitis and abscess formation. So patient may have ileus of the bowel, which may lead to abdominal distension. Along with this, patient may have low urine output, oliguria. So clinically, by looking all these parameters, we can identify the patient has landed in complications of appendicitis. Apart from this, in investigations, a simple X-ray abdomen, if you take an X-ray, you can see free air in the below the dome of the diaphragm, that is pneumoperitoneum, which suggests you of perforation of the appendix. So directly you can diagnose there is a perforation of appendix. And apart from this, in ultrasound, we can see for localized or diffuse fluid collection, which may again indicates there is an abscess or diffuse intraperitoneal abscess. And same findings again you can confirm in the CE/CT abdomen. So by looking clinically as well as into the investigations, most of the times we can say the patient has all these complications.
So what are the management options we have in complicated appendicitis?
Yeah, once we confirm the diagnosis, patient have this acute appendicitis or any complications. So if patient has simple acute appendicitis, that means patient comes immediately after the pain, abdomen and fever. So if there is, patient doesn't have any complications with simple appendicitis, directly most of the times we will plan for surgery, emergency surgery. So before going to emergency surgery, we will do all the routine blood investigations and other investigations which are required for general anesthesia of the patient, and we'll pay the patient for surgery after adequate counseling to the patient and patient family. If patient have some complications like perforation of appendix or gangrene and sepsis, we have to initially resuscitate the patient. So we have to admit the patient into ICU. We have to adequately give IV fluids to treat the hypotension and tachycardia. Sometimes we may need to put the patient on ventilator if the patient has severe hypoxia and acidosis, all those things. So once we resuscitate the patient, then we will plan for a surgery. Most of the times nowadays we will opt for a keyhole surgery or laparoscopic surgery, and we are able to finish about 95 to 99% of the times in laparoscopy all these appendicitis as well as the complications of the disease. Very rarely if there are some problems in the laparoscopic surgery or we may not able to remove the disease completely, then we'll go for a conventional open surgery. We'll convert it to open surgery.
What are the new surgical options available, doctor? When do you suggest these treatments?
So generally, the main treatment modality is surgery only. Very rarely, as I mentioned already, sometimes in pregnancy, if patient have mild to moderate appendicitis, especially in first trimester or last trimester, we may go for a conservative medical management, because if you go for surgery at this time of pregnancy, there is chances of fetal loss. So if patient doesn't have severe appendicitis or any complications, we may go for a medical management. So we'll give broad spectrum IV antibiotics, IV fluids. We'll keep the patient nil oral, and once the patient have relief of pain and fever, and we will once a patient delivers the baby, we'll go for a emergency, elective laparoscopic or open appendicectomy. And sometimes, if the patient comes very lately, like after 3 to 4 days of onset of symptoms, the patient may develop an appendicular mass. This is another delayed complication. Appendicular mass means once there is an inflammation of appendix, so the innate body immunity will try to seal that area of infection by formation of an appendicular mass. Appendicular mass is nothing but mass which consists of appendix covered by small bowel, momentum, and large bowel. So once there is a formation of an appendicular mass or localized abscess, sometimes we may try to manage this patient conservatively. So we will admit the patient, we'll give broad spectrum IV antibiotics, IV fluids. If there is an abscess, localized abscess, we may try to drain the abscess through an ultrasound or CT guidance by placing a pigtail sometimes. And if it is a simple mass, most of the times with IV broad spectrum antibiotics and conservative management, the inflammation may subside. So if inflammation subsides and patient is comfortable after 3 to 4 days of admission, we will discharge the patient. Then we will ask the patient to come after 6 weeks to do an elective appendicectomy, which you call it as interval appendicectomy. So if you do surgery after 6 weeks after acute episode, you call it as interval appendicectomy. So in these type of situations, you may prefer a conservative management rather than jumping into an emergency surgery, because if you go for surgery in between like 4 to 5 days after acute episode, because of these adhesions and mass formation, the surgery may be difficult and it may lead to some complications. So generally, we'll postpone the surgery in that type of scenarios.
Sir, what are the complications of this surgery?
So complications, coming to complications, that again depends on the time of surgery. So whenever you do surgery, like within 24 to 48 hours after the acute onset of pain, most of the times there won't be much complications from your surgery. But if you do surgery like after 4 to 5 days after acute episode, and if there is a mass formation, there may be sometimes iatrogenic damage to the surrounding small and large bowel due to the adhesions. So that is one complication. The other complications are chances of wound infection, especially if there is a gangrenous appendicitis and perforation and abscess formation. Once you do surgery, because the pus come into contact with your incision site, so there may be chances of infection. And again, these infections are more common if you do an open surgery, because you will be giving a large incision, and these complications are less in laparoscopic surgery. And apart from this, the rare complications are sometimes the patient may develop an enterocutaneous fistula. That is, most of the times when you remove the appendix, we will try to obliterate the lumen of the base of the appendix by tying it with a catgut. So sometimes this catgut may give away. So in this type of patients, patient may develop an enterocutaneous fistula. That means the bowel may get open and it may form a localized abscess, and it may try to communicate with the outside through your incision site. So this is a rare complication which may happen sometimes in these patients.
Sir, does removal of appendix affect the immune system?
This is actually, there is no much confirmation, there is no conclusive evidence. Apart from this, actually, some scientific studies, they have seen like these patients with early appendicectomy may develop some autoimmune disease, because as you know, appendix is a part of the bowel which consists of some immune tissue, that is gut associated lymphoid tissue. So if you remove the appendix in early stage or early age, these patients, like 10 to 15% of these patients may develop some autoimmune disease, but this is not confirmed. very rarely you may get these complications. Apart from this, removing the appendix, which may not cause much problems to any immunity of the patient.
How do you manage appendicitis in pregnant patients?
Yeah, so appendicitis in pregnancy, this is a rare scenario which may alter our routine management, starting from the investigations, diagnosis, and management. So, as I told, first thing is that there may be some confusion in the clinical presentation because of enlarged uterus and fetus. The location of the pain may be atypical in this patient. Generally, appendicitis pain will be in the right lower part of the abdomen, but in patient with pregnancy, sometimes the patient may have pain in the right upper part of the abdomen, again which may confuse the diagnosis. And the other things in pregnancy are the investigations. If you cannot detect in ultrasound, we may not go for a CT scan. As I told already, radiation is contraindicated in pregnancy. We have to go for MRI. And coming to the management part, we need to be cautious about the antibiotics because some of the antibiotics and drugs are teratogenic to the fetus. So we may not be able to give all the broad spectrum antibiotics. And apart from that, coming to the definitive management part, surgery most of the times this is indicated in any acute abdomen. If the patient is in second trimester, that is 3 to 6 months of pregnancy, we may go for safely for surgery. But if the patient is in first trimester or last trimester, if we can manage this disease with conservative management, that will be good for the patient because it may prevent the fetal loss. So according to the stage of the pregnancy, we will try to manage these patients. So if it is mild to moderate appendicitis and patient doesn't have any complications like gangrene or perforation, most of the times we will try to manage the patient conservatively with antibiotics. And once the patient gets delivered, we will plan for an interval appendicectomy. But if the patient have really into the complications like perforation and sepsis, we have to explain the fetal loss of pregnancy during surgery, and we have to take the patient for surgery.
With this, we come to the conclusion of this session. Thank you so much, Doctor, for participating and for giving your valuable information in this topic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, viewers. Thank you for watching this. If you have any queries, please comment. And if you want to book an appointment, you can book on our website www.askapollo.com, or else you can directly call to our number 0891 286 7777. And stay home and stay safe and follow the hand hygiene. Thank you.